Just about a week ago, we seen drivers here in California start things off with an adventure. But today, the Collegiate iRacing League transitions to a different side of the coast. This is the East Coast, this is Miami, and this is the NAPA Longland Corp Formula College for the Beach Party Grand Prix. Justin Prince Marty's account with you here on Green Flag TV with Dustin Hollis, our producer, for this evening's coverage from one of the newest tracks in all of iRacing, the Miami International Autodrome. It's a racetrack that's known not just for its F1, but also for many of its endurance series and road series making its way here over the course of the year, and iRacing has its turn now here.
Yeah, it's great to have Miami International Autodrome on iRacing after being on the F1 games for the past couple of years. Built around Hard Rock Stadium, the home of the Dolphins and the U. Not really a full permanent road course. It's a temporary circuit, but most of the times it's not a street circuit though. But it doesn't have that feeling like a typical tight street track. It's got those lawn strikes. It's got those permanent style sections. It's got that sort of like a hybrid personality. It's kind of like its own animal in a sort of ways.
And keep in mind, this is part of many road courses, a part of the schedule, as you can see with the schedule. Yeah, the Brickyards road course next when it comes to the calendar. But the big date on the schedule, that's a talking point. We're expecting a lot of attendance for the 500-mile race at the Brickyard on the 26th, Marty. That's expected to be a very competitive race where the best of the best should come out to play.
Yes, everyone willing to stay up late on that night for the greatest spectacle in all of racing, and basically their own little endurance race. They're going to go the full distance, 200 laps, 500 miles in a couple weeks from now. The biggest race of the season for the Collegiate iRacing League and their Formula College series, and that will be fun. But all the attention here, though, turns to the beach party tonight.
Especially with all the yachts around some of the corners here in Miami. But so far with this championship, for those coming into this series, it's been Jake Cummings who's controlled the championship. 2 wins on the campaign. He holds the points lead by 33 over Nathaniel Fryman and Alex Hallinar. And it's expected to potentially carry through tonight. Cummings, one of the quickest drivers in final practice here in Miami. It's going to be interesting. Can anybody keep up with the purple and black machine?
Definitely going to be the question that we'll have to know about right now at the moment. We look at the qualifying time. Spady a half second quicker than Wyatt Burton on their first laps at the moment, with Jake Cummings about a second behind. But, still, a long qualifying session if you want to consider that for drivers. But it's basically, when you add on the warm-up lap here, Justin, it's basically 3 or 4 qualifying laps that the drivers are going to get.
Let's get into the advertising portion of tonight, because remember, this series is brought to you by NAPA Longland Corp, Longland Corporation. For your car, truck, SUV, and heavy-duty needs, visit NAPA and get the NAPA know-how. Happy to have them a part of this series as drivers are in the midst of their second lap for a majority. Remember, they have 3 qualifying laps available for these sessions. Here is Brennan Lyman watching along with here the 78. Currently actually on the first lap right here and now. So you can see how much the roll has to settle in. It's worth noting here that they did go with a modified version of the Watkins Glen setup that the Indycars have available on the iRacing service, because Miami doesn't have a setup in particular from iRacing for this track.
Yeah, it's definitely unique here at the same time, because Watkins Glen has 90-degree corners. It's got those flowing S's as well from time to time. But it transfers to Miami because you've got the long straight, you've got the back straight as well, and plus the straights around in the boot section. It's got heavy braking zones, just like at the Glen. Also has those mixed street corners as well from time to time. This isn't a tight, bumpy street race like I mentioned earlier. It drives more like a power road course. Teams can lean on a Watkins Glen philosophy here from time to time, protect that straightaway speed, keep it stable under braking, and compromise the middle of the corners.
And we'll see that balance here today as you follow along with the Tri University machine. Well, that's definitely some corner cut coming on through. Cut through both the blue sections. This is a racetrack with a long page of exemptions, keep in mind. And in areas like turns 5 through 8 there, you cannot cross the edge of the orange and white curving without risking an off track. Think Burton basically flirting, if not a race, or passing that already as he zips around this circuit. A lot of drivers have struggled to get under the braking and slow down in time for these corners to stick to the inside curving, though.
Yeah, obviously a couple weeks here into the season with Miami, so a fresh challenge for these drivers here as Burton's exiting the I call it the rhythm section of Miami International Autodrome. It's technical, narrow, momentum base, easy to overheat those rear tires, and punishes impatience from time to time. And now it's on that long straight. This is where Indycar really has that power show. The long straight, a massive draft zone. You'll hit serious top speed before you hit this hairpin right here. Basically the penultimate corner.
And every time throughout these sessions, notice drivers have overshot that final corner, heading up into 18 and 19. We'll see if Burton actually gets a time put through this time. Fourth quickest coming in, and indeed, that was an off track at the start of the lap. Lyman, for reference, got the 6th, and it looks like he's happy with it on the second time. Just got a time up the board with a minute to go in the session. Not enough time for anybody else to put together a time. Dylan Beatty was the one who set the quickest lap time, and you were mentioning the tires, Marty. It's worth talking about. Drivers were warned they're expecting the tires to go off very, very much so. As in, we're expecting a lot of tire degradation. They're expecting drivers to really feel it within 2 to 3 laps tonight. And the drivers meeting said.
Yeah, this is South Florida here, Justin. This is where track temp swings can be massive. Grip improves dramatically, though, as the rubber goes down. But the early stint versus the late stint pace can be wildly different. Watch the racing line tonight. It will get darker basically every lap. That could be free lap time, but you got to make sure you conserve your tires at the same time.
So as we get set for tonight, as said, drivers have put up their qualifying laps here today, as we are just moments away from your rolling through. Beatty will start on the pole today when they do roll through, with Jake Cummings alongside from Converse University. Ball State has first and third in the grid tonight. Fryman starts in third. Wyatt Burney we followed along with half a second off the pole in fourth. Another Ball State driver to the inside. That's Matthew Monroe with Lyman's Oklahoma Panhandle State University machine in sixth. St. Clair College's Logan McKim makes an appearance tonight. One of the 2 drivers from that program, Barrett Wolf from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, rounds out the top 8. Alex Haladar starts at 9th with Garrett Greathouse in the Kansas State University machine in the 10th spot. 4 seconds off the pole for this evening. And by the way, there were 2 drivers that didn't set qualifying times tonight. Andrew Voigt from Penn State. And for the first time this season, we see Grant Schiller make an appearance. He was in the 144s in final practice. Keep in mind that it's important to note the 105% time tonight was 145.268. At least 2 drivers just about barely made it into that range with this track.
Yeah, it was definitely really tight coming out of that session. Now the drivers here in their warm-up will get a couple more minutes here to figure out their optimal line, adjust their braking points, where their car is going to be good on corner exit, and just learn the balancing of their cars here at the same time.
So as these drivers get the final warm-ups out, what's going through the mind of drivers as you try and sort out what you need to figure out? Because keep in mind, 30 laps, that's about a 50-minute race tonight. Expecting a one-stopper. What's the plan here with the tire situation?
It's really tough here when you try to master the race strategy here. You know, you've got the fuel management that has to matter, the tire strategy and the degradation, like I talked about early on. The undercut could be it's really tough being a strategist and a driver here at the same time, because you've got the undercut you could try and do and get on track earlier with the tires, but you'll have worn tires though compared to your competitors once they all finish. Or you try to go as long as possible and save the tires, and then once you get back on the track, you can then go all out in the second half, basically, of the race. So we'll just have to see. I'll give you my keys to victory once they start to grid and go into their warm-up lap before the 30-lap feature.
One of the things we talked about during the schedule is this. The CIL Indy 500 is almost upon us, everybody, because on February 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, one more driver looked to add their name to the list of drivers who have been able to kiss the virtual bricks at the historic International Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Not only can everyone watch this race live here on Green Flag TV, but any college student or alum can enter this race. If you want to find out how you can enter this event or win a share of $100 in terms of the prize pot, scan the QR code on your screen or visit CollegiateIRacingLeague.com for more information. And by the way, they have just made an announcement in this session in terms of the eligibility for the drivers tonight. We will start with 11 because Grant Schiller from St. Clair College has been deemed ineligible to take part tonight. He was the 144.7 in final practice, Marty, and he's not going to be a part of your grid. Race control just announced here.
Yeah, there's a limit, I believe, when it comes to the I rating and the safety rating here combined at the same time in this college league. If it's a little bit over, race control will take a look at it very closely and could deem you null and void for the competition. Or didn't register correctly, excuse me.
Yeah. So Schiller will not take part tonight, but everybody else, we did take a majority of the laps of the practice, and 10 to the 11 did put up qualifying times here tonight. So as they sort each other out here, you're mentioning some of the keys already. Who are you watching for the race win tonight, especially knowing the first time around was pretty wild. What we were talking about last time on an Auto Club, things were pretty wild in terms of some of the battles and in turn some of the crashes at the very end we've seen amongst the top four who were on the lead lap, Marty.
Yeah, but one thing at Auto Club last time out, that's an oval, and you know everyone has a better chance. Everyone has a more of an even chance at winning in the playing field, because if you're not the best at a road course, a track like an oval, you may have a better chance at. I would keep your eye on, perhaps to say the least, maybe Jake Cummings. He was the winner of the season opener at Laguna Seca a couple weeks ago. Maybe also a guy like Alex Hallinar, who was very quiet in that race on the oval at Auto Club Speedway last week until the pit stop, used it to his advantage and was able to get, I believe it was a top 5 finish, if I recall correctly. Those two and maybe Dylan Beatty out of Ball State, we'll just have to see.
So the drivers are finishing up the warm-up session now. Here comes an important question as they now jump their way to the grid itself. What tire compound do you start off with? Do you do the Blackwall primes or do you put on the alternates knowing the tire wear situation? Because remember, you do have to bite the bullet and try the different tire compounds.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think, once we start to get a racing line and you want that grip, you'll get the faster laps. So I would probably say if you start on the black tires, it wouldn't be bad, but I'm looking at a lot of these drivers here. It's very split at the moment. I'm seeing 50-50 on the black tires and the second half on the alternate red tires here at the moment, Justin. I think it's really split at the moment, but I'm seeing like a 6-4, 6-5 ratio here. I'm seeing more drivers on the primaries.
A lot of primary wall tires to start things off here today. Beatty on the primaries, the alternates taken by Cummings is the first of those. Then you have to go back to Lyman and McKim. Greathouse also elected to go the red wall tires. Everybody else starts on the primary to begin things off here in Miami. They will get a full lap to warm up. It's worth noting with the track state in this session, it's very dusty because with how it works with track progression and how the track itself sets up, depending on how you load up the session itself with set percentages, they're dealing with a lot of dust, and also you see with the temperatures, as expected, a fairly hot track.
Absolutely, 92 degrees is the track temperature here at the moment, and this track state is carried over from the warm-up, which started at 25% and lasted for 5 minutes. So let me give you my keys to victory. here, Justin. Couple of keys. You want to optimize the car here for a very mixed layout, from the aero balance, the brake balance, to mechanical grip. Carefully tune that suspension and aero so you can get the traction out of the slow corners. Master the race strategy, from your fuel to your tire strategy, and more of that. You want to make sure you have an excellent start in this one. A strong start can immediately influence your race track position, even more valuable when overtaking is harder in the tight sections. Braking points at times, they can become overtaking zone, especially out of those long straightaways, like into those tight hairpins. Managing your tires as well while attacking and defending. Again, like I said, track position is key. Finally, smooth throttle and brake inputs to manage the heat in the tires, and strong physical condition to maintain precision. Indy cars lack the driver aids, obviously. No traction control, no ABS, so raw driver inputs matter, especially around the heavy braking, the corner exit traction, and mid-corner balance.
It's going to be interesting as well throughout the night how the drivers use the push-to-pass feature. You would have to think too, set up some of the opportunities here. Keep an eye on how a lot of these drivers go. As you see, majority of your field tonight just keeping themselves pretty well set to begin what should be some wild racing. Remember, students are in the blue, and then your alumnus are in the red for your pylon sequence here today. So as we get set to go here for this one, final thoughts. You already gave the keys to the race. What else do you keep an eye on itself as these drivers are just a couple corners away from hitting the gas?
Well, you know, we look at this track here as well. I talked about the long straights as an IndyCar power show, basically. Look at turns 11 through 16. That's the rhythm section. That's technical, narrow, and momentum-based. The heat as well is key. But also keep an eye on the dirty air as well, because the IR18 depends heavily on clean front aero grip. So this could be an advantage on that front row, whether it be Cummings or Beatty. We're getting set to come to green, 2 turns away, Justin.
We're happy to have you with us for tonight's coverage of the Collegiate iRacing League and the NAPA Longland Corporation Formula College campaign. Third race of the season, ready to go, the Beach Party Grand Prix. iRacing pace car speeds off and heads to pit road. Dylan Beatty's in control. Beatty speeding the field up a little bit quickly for the underneath portions of the bridge. Waiting for the green flag trigger. Cummings waits to his left. Green flag is out. We're underway from Miami. Look at the dust kick up as Fryman immediately goes for the race lead. 4 wide, at least a corner cut for Hallinar. That's a huge amount of time lost. And just like that, they work their way to the S's.
Yeah, I don't know if Hallinar got forced off but there at the same time, just with how tight it was. It was a shallow entry, though, for the 057, and now they approach the S's here, like you mentioned, Justin. Don't really want to get too risky into this area. Just want to follow the driver, don't make any key mistakes, and now we'll start to see the drivers use the draft to their advantage, possibly.
Field choo-choo trains itself past the stadium once more and past some of the gondolas that bring people above the circuit. Big drafting opportunity coming up to turn 11. Does anyone think about a dive heading up towards the tight chicanes? Yes, they do. Cummings does take the move from the left side. And with the grandstands popping out to his left, give the fans a show before they head underneath the highway.
That's a key pass there for Cummings. You can use the toe off of Beatty here going down this final long straight, but what will Fryman get to his advantage? We'll have to see. Your front two, though, trying to break this draft here at the same time, and you can see Fryman definitely in a lot of dirty air here at the moment. See if he can make the move. I don't think it's going to work going to the hairpin. He'll think second better of it, but mid-pack move being made here by the 31 of Wolf. Can't make the pass stick. Monroe with the preferred racing line. It was his corner, no doubt, but they'll stay side by side, full throttle off the final corner. Have trouble meanwhile. Nope, never mind, false start.
So a lot of battling for some of the drivers towards the front still as Cummings waits in the choo-choo train. Top 4 have broken away. Let's take a look at what happened lap 1, turn 1. He had to go deep there.
Easily, yeah, corner cut, or else he was going to lose the front wing and have a lot of damage and be in pit road for a little bit.
So with that being said here, let's keep an eye on this from Burden. You can see him trying to angle a little bit wider. And mention the aero wash factor that these drivers are going to have to deal with the course of the night. Burden trying to calculate against that. Oh, wow.
Cummings is on the push to pass.
There it goes to the race lead. Oh, and contact leaning on Beatty. Beatty sticks it up the left side. Contact with the right side. Cummings hugs the inside curb, pushes up, washes up, and Beatty's forced out of the gas.
That's hard racing. That's just a driver wanted it a lot more, but you can't be taking too much curb or else you can lose traction off the rear there from time to time. So now Cummings using some push to pass early, and now other drivers trying to take advantage of it. Burton and Wolf both on the button, but Beatty conserving here for right now at the moment, and the same for the third place guy and Fryman. But look at Burton behind. I thought he was going to make a move for a moment and fool the 23. Decides not to. Here's a look at the pass for the lead.
Made it stick. There's the first bit of contact. Cummings says, you know what? I've got the red wall tires. I'm faster on the short run right now. Got to get this done. Gets it done before the tires go off. Beatty, now as Amonsto's having to play heavy defense. The architecture major having to hold off the crowd as Burden works his way around trying to get the third. Not going to work. Hit the curbing. The lead, by the way, up 1.2 seconds there for Cummings.
Not the best place to pass. Meanwhile, behind Burton as well, who lost some time, Matthew Monroe, who just laid down the fastest lap of the race at a 1:42.31. Did use a couple seconds of push to pass as well at the same time. He's got a very fast hot rod so far. Keep an eye on this long straightaway. Trouble in the back, meanwhile, Logan McKim.
Lyman's crashed. He's pulled off to the side. McKim still trying to turn around. So we've had an incident for the first time today. Keep in mind, McKim had tried to send in Barrett Wolf and ends up going around here. We'll see what the 78's damage comes in. That's how.
Yeah, nowhere to go on the bottom side. And again, that's an area with the driver in the middle of the track. It's just a tough place to try and dodge a bullet unless you're slow all the way down. Here's an onboard look. It's a blind corner here too at the same time, Justin. Although, as I say, they had momentum, and that car may be done for the night. Right front suspension damage. Very hard lick.
Race control has said the incident between the 30 and the 78 has been noted from their post-race review. Lyman officially out of the race. Driver from a school with under 2,000 combined students now go back and exit Miami. Oh wow, we continue to see how things play out second through fourth. Right now, the two Ball State machines pulling the draft, but Cummings is setting the tone in the 141.6s. That is about a second slower than what it was in qualifying for the top drivers.
Amongst the top 5 here, Justin, he's the only driver using the red wall Firestones here at the moment. And so he's picking up about 3 or 4 tenths on average a lap, and it's working out well for him. But as you start to get into this run here in the first half, how is that momentum going to slow down here? It's a 2-second lead at the moment. Keep an eye on that gap when we get into maybe lap 8 or lap 9 in this race. And Cummings as well, he's also used a bunch of push to pass at the moment. Already 15 seconds in. Second and third and Beatty and Fryman, they've yet to click the button in this race.
Interesting to say the least. Are you preserving that in type of situation for later if you haven't used it yet, or is it just not the need to use it?
I would absolutely preserve it here. I think it's way too early to be using the button. If you have 200 seconds of push to pass in a race, you divide that by 30, you got to use it an average of 6.7 seconds a lap. So that'd be something you may want to keep your eye on from time to time, but you want more of it for late in the going when you're trying to make a pass and also trying to defend too at the same time.
There's a look at the push to passes specifically by the seconds. 186 for Cummings, 180 for Barrett Wolf. Hallinar still yet to use the button. This is normally a DRS zone in F1 competition. No send in the battle of the alumni drivers in the field here. Voigt continues to hold on to the Penn State machine.
It looked like Voigt was braking while steering, and with open wheel cars here, or road course cars in general, that just leads to an immediate loss of traction, get the car sideways. I think that's what happened to the 009, allowed Hallinar to close some time just a little bit, and Hallinar looks really good on corner exits compared to Voigt in front of him.
Looking back at the Ball State machines, Fryman still chugging along behind. Did pick up 4/10 last time on Beatty. But you see some of the issue potentially on trying to get these passes done here between these drivers. You can tell the air wash causing a little bit of troubles with Fryman on the handling, and even then, speed difference is only a couple miles an hour difference now for the 23 compared to the 20 with the pull. So you have to really outdrive the driver in front of you to be able to make a pass here.
Oh, without question. And like the rhythm section, which you're seeing these drivers, this guy going through at the moment, very tough place to pass. So Beatty in a comfortable spot for right now. He's up 7/10 on Fryman. Oh, what just happened there? Oh my goodness, he had a controller issue.
Big time technical issue for the 20. The blink definitely says it. Beatty from second position is out of the race. Beatty, who is fourth in the points coming in and trying to chip away for the top two, is now gone, and Fryman has no help. And didn't an issue like that happen in week one on the final lap, remember?
I believe so, a couple weeks ago at Laguna Seca. Watch the wheels here snap to the left.
Just gone. And that's your third DNF already, Marty. We're not even 6 laps complete, and we're down to 8 cars remaining.
Yeah, it's a rough break for a lot of drivers here, but still some action regardless. So still watching Voigt and Hallinar for 6th on the track. Monroe starting to feel the attack from Wolf in the battle for 4th. Wolf's been using some push to pass, and now as I say that, Monroe is on the button, trying to pull away and play a little bit of defense, but Wolf's got the draft, and it couldn't work out. We could pull him to maybe half a car length going into the rhythm section.
Voigt trying to hug the inside, try to take away a chance there. Hallinar from the high groove. I'll try and make the move in the Binghamton machine. Not done. Couldn't get the crossover to try and get side by side. In an area where side by side can be advantageous to make the move. You can see at this point, I think the 057 is getting really held up because Voigt is struggling in the tight, very tight technical areas. Big slope and a big checkup again.
You had to be careful there if your Hallinar doesn't want to lose the front wing or any part of the suspension. He's coming here into the hairpin. Does he try and go aggressive? He's got a momentum, but good defense from Voigt will force Hallinar to go the long way around here. But that draft, without question. Oh, Voigt sideways. What a save.
Kept it out of the wall, though. Lose the spot, but he'll keep on going to live another lap. What did I say about the trouble spots for some of the drivers here today? You're seeing that pop up, by the way. Wolf has been using a fair amount of button in this battle, trying to get around Matthew Monroe. Now, a couple car lengths back. Here's a look at the snap, though, on your top corner.
Yeah, too much curb there with the hairpin just caused the rear end to freak out and get him sideways, but great reaction from Voigt and able to save it there at the moment. We're watching this race for 4th. You were talking about this too, Justin. Wolf, and again, he's on the button. He's been very aggressive, probably the most aggressive that we've seen someone on the button so far. He's got the least amount of push to pass time in this one. And now Monroe, as I say that, is going to play defense and on the button. Wolf outbreaks, though. The 44 the corner, that could pay off here. Beautiful pass.
Wolf had a little tiny squeeze there, but gets the pass done. Drivers with railroad racing experience able to get the job done to get the move up to the 4th position. Now, here's the tough part. He's already used a lot of time. He's doing a quarter of the push to pass to get one spot.
Yes, absolutely. And also one of the reasons he may be using a lot more of the button than normal because he's got the primary tires. He may be hoping for the alternates here at the same time, but You look at a bunch of the drivers choosing the black walls to get things going, and Monroe just giving it a little bit of a friendly nudge there, just saying hello. You don't want to be doing that, though, with the Indy cars, as Wolf able to open up some daylight.
Now keep in mind, Barrett Wolf does have the open wheel experience in real life. We touched upon this last week. It's one of the drivers that has had experience racing the former Regional Americas Championship. That's the series back in 2018 Kyle Kirkwood won a championship with. Lance Lundqvist also won a championship in that series in 2020. Tom Hedge 2023, and Titus Sherlock recently in 2025. A part of those who compete. That is a series that is 13 races deep. A part of the calendar in terms of how many appearances at different tracks they've been at across the country. The Wolf, one of those drivers with some real-world advantages to carry over at least into the big boy IndyCar here in the Sim.
Yeah, you know, I also do some work with another series on the dirt side of things on iRacing. There's a lot of drivers that actually have some real-world experience. They also race on like the iRacing Pro series as well on Monday night from time to time, and it helps them out in their real-life experience too. So iRacing, a very notable tool here. We're taking a look here at Jay Cummings, and I mean, wow, this lead is already scorching at 4.4 seconds on Nathaniel Fryman. Already 8 laps in, and he just looks like he's on another planet at the moment, even with the alternates.
The Converse University driver dominant. Meanwhile, the University of Nevada Las Vegas machine of Wolf has now tried to pull weight from Monroe here. Building up a 4/10 cushion. You see the difference on the deltas, about 2/10 compared to Monroe. In fact, I think Monroe was a little bit quicker. Yes, he was last time by, even with the pass, with the help of some of the draft. So your closest battle as we come up to the third of the way distance mark coming up next time, Marty.
Yeah, but been a strategic race so far for a bunch of drivers here. For the rest, it's just been a rough going here at the moment. They'll just have to shake it off when they go into their pit stop and hope for a better second half where they can either pick up some ground, and tough part is maybe trying to gain a spot here too at the same time.
We just lost another car here. Voigt just listed as left the session here. He was the last car running on the circuit, and that leaves us down to 7 left circulating around here in Miami, by the way.
Yeah, last thing I have in a crash here, just is when he just lost it on the X of the hairpin, so I'm not too sure what happened on his end here. So
didn't hit anything. He just pulled it in. So it's worth noting, speaking of incidents, investigation after the race now confirmed for the 3 and the 78, involving the big incident in the opening laps between McKim and Lyman for the damage in that respective part. Still looking at the battle for second on screen. Fryman doing a good job. Meanwhile, this is the only other issue with Voigt as, oh wow.
Wow, what a save. And again, I mentioned this earlier, give him credit on the reaction time he's had whenever that car has an oversteer on corner X. They're able to counter beautifully without using too much of the wheel that forces the car to snap to the right and would send that around. Give him credit for making all those saves here. Here's the race for 4th, Barrett Wolf and Matthew Monroe. Monroe, I think, just being cautious to save his tires maybe and play it to his advantage here on Wolf, trying to make sure the 31, I think, uses up his Firestones here.
Yeah, remember tire wear, we were talking about that. It's worth knowing that Cummings did start falling off on the reds last time through. On the alternate, the 143s, everyone on the Blackwall tires has stayed in the 142s. In fact, Burden setting his personal best. Some sends along the outside, and Monroe gets the spot back for 4th on his charge. Hold on, something just happened to Cummings, and he's spun it. The race leader has gone around. He had a big advantage, and not anymore. Jake Cummings has spun and hit part of the wall.
Way too much curbing he used, and that's in that rhythm section. huge advantage for Nate Fryman, and Cummings, the fastest car here. You know, we're on lap 10 of this race here, Justin. It would not surprise me if Cummings maybe waits a lap or so before coming on to pit road. I'm trying to see if he's got any damage because he did tag the wall. I'm not seeing anything too particular here, but we've got a brand new ball game here. And yeah, there's going to be some damage on that right front wing. Nothing too serious, but just pushed in. He may have to make a front wing change when he makes his pit stop. But Justin, we got a more interesting race now.
Just scrapes visually on the car right now, but that is going to be a big swing because Cummings now is minus 5 seconds to the leader, and Monroe and Wolf are digging to catch him. We talked about the fall off for Cummings. He's in a catch-22 situation now here, Marty, because Fryman's now got the advantage on the Blackwell tires. There is the reds that are going to be countering in the back half of this race, but first and second are now trying to fiercely fight for what's going to be the race lead. Burton trying to bring some excitement to the outside.
He's trying to diamond this corner and go high-low here on corner exit, a much better exit for the 26. He's going to do the same thing here in this small little carousel, but this is not a passing zone. Just trying to gain some time here on Fryman where we get a really go. Oh my! Way too much curbing, and that 26 got sideways on the exit there. Another great save. Now Burton's trying to get the draft, but Fryman is on the button.
Really trying to get away. You see the count going down more and more. Burton doesn't even respond. I think Burton stayed equal with even the push of the button there. Did Fryman burn a lot more button than he should have there? Because the 26 didn't even, 26 stayed equal.
Yeah, Burton nearly has a minute more of push to pass here compared to Fryman. That could be treacherous going into the late portion of this race. We're nearly at the halfway point of this one. And so we'll just have to see what happens. Meanwhile, I'm checking on Cummings. He's matching the race pace with the leaders, but I don't know if that's the situation that he really wants to be in at the moment. It's I know you mentioned, Justin, he was in a catch-22 situation. Jake Cummings basically had a 10 and a 6 in his opening hand.
We'll find out if there's going to be a chance for the 95 here, but we're coming close to the halfway mark. Right now, drivers continuing to push these fuel windows. We'll keep an eye on how long they go. Fryman using more button. What's happened here to Hallinar? He's on an island in 6th, and that island continues to find its way to some slides. We'll see if he finds a yacht to get off the island.
He's basically hanging out with Wilson in the Castaway film, and yeah, that boat's just getting farther and farther out.
Yes. For reference, they do have yachts in the iRacing scan for parts of the circuit. I know there's the fake water. You have to wonder if eventually they're going to build a giant moat or something here at this racetrack. Poke a little fun at that.
I think they're doing something next year with Miami in 2026, and I want to say it's a deal with that cruise company that sponsors them. I got to look this up.
Good question, but all this as well. Fryman holds on in front, and Fryman, big chances with the point standings here today. Second on the points coming in. Now, remember, he's been consistent, no poles yet, but has been in the top 5 both races so far. So Fryman, one of the favorites here. This is one of those types of races where you have to be able to take advantage with the 95 situation.
Yes, no mistakes here. Burton in a very comfortable position. I would say if I'm Burton, just conserve. Cummings is getting really aggressive on the button because of all the time he lost. He's matching the pace of Burton here at the moment, but has 20 seconds less of the push to pass situation here at the same time. So by the way, Justin, I can confirm here, they are doing that upgrade to Miami in 2026. Instead of all the boats in one, they're doing a super yacht themed multi-floor hospitality enclosure in partnership with MSC Cruises.
Yes, and there's that yacht section that we're talking about here.
Beautiful.
I mean, look at the iRacing yacht. That's a little bit of artistic liberties there.
I'm predicting that Dale Jr. and Steve Myers are on that yacht.
I wonder if we send a camera to search here, because has anyone found them yet at Miami? That's a great question. But we're coming up to halfway in this race itself. Fryman's starting to pull away near a full second. Cummings, for his efforts, did close up about a second on his attempts to get back up there. So the 95 still has the raw speed and did kick it down to the 142 ones last time. So there is a chance Cummings can get there in the long haul. It's going to be an interesting factor with the drivers up in front in the 142.8s at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give credit to Cummings. He's remained 4 seconds back of the top two. But I just don't see a way how he's going to try and close this in. He's basically in 2-minute drill mode in a game of football at the moment. But here we go. Race for the lead's getting interesting. Burton is down to a car length on Fryman.
Every time Fryman pulls away here, Burton then responds with a quick catch-up. Burton has now used the button at least for 11 seconds, though, here at the Beach Party Grand Prix. So he is attempting to close. Cummings is using the button like mad to be able to chip away down the same straightaway. Here comes a chance. Does Burton lunge it? No, didn't get enough pull. It's not like in the F1 machines where you have the DRS open up the flap, then you get the pull, try to make the pass, go from there. We've seen how difficult it is to set it up with this ebb and flow track. And these drivers, you have to give them huge credit. Had to adjust to a different type of setup for a track not really meant there. By the way, nobody on the iRacing yacht. It is a ghost town.
Are you kidding me?
Where's the steering wheel?
That would have been the perfect place. Yeah, where is the steering wheel?
There is nothing on that boat.
Are they paddling that boat with like oars or something?
No, you pick it up with the truck. There's no way in the world that's going to find its way to water.
Yeah, that is true. Fryman, meanwhile, on the button here, trying to run away from Burton. And so Fryman's getting really aggressive here. He's down a minute on push to pass. Burton, when we get to this final 10 laps of this race, don't be surprised if the 26 could be in the catbird seat here, possibly. He put up a half second, Justin, last time by a 142.11 compared to a 142.65. That gap at 0.8 of a second, and Burton looks a lot better in the second half of the course compared to the first half.
Yeah, noticing that a little bit too, as Fryman's starting to really burn up that push to pass. That 200 seconds down to 103, 102, 101. Just continuously using it all. My concern is, I know you have to use it eventually, but you want to at least give yourself enough push to pass to defend. The same that Arjuna always said with the old system, where it was just single uses instead of the actual time burn, was you have to be able to push to defend with the two. We'll have to see if Fryman has enough for it later. Cummings did pit in that midst of that sentence, though, so the pit stops are open. It is halfway. Pit window is open.
So Cummings trying the undercut, trying for some fresh grip before the top two come in at the same time, and we'll have the tires up to temp and pressure, and he will be on the alternates too. So he'll have. So hang on a second. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Justin, but didn't Cummings have the alternates on the first stint?
Yeah, that's a great question here. I do have... Oh, that's going to be a problem here. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got to use the black walls too.
Because in the rules for the session, it does put compound swap. Cummings may have just made a very critical mistake here.
So
if
that's
it
more
is
than,
correct.
Yeah, that's more than critical, Justin. That's deadly.
That's end of race if he doesn't come back down pit road.
He's just playing with fire for like a time penalty at this rate because of that.
Hearing pit stops coming up for the second group. Matthew Monroe just indicated stop. Big slide. Burden, you re-wrecked the car.
Great save.
Doesn't force him in, though. I love how Monroe says, I'm pitting, and immediately Barrett Wolf says, I'm just going to make the pass then. Thank you very much.
Wow,
oh, wow.
Impressive.
Oh, that is... How do you feel if you're Matthew Monroe, where you call a pit stop, Wolf says, you know what, I'm going to send it, and then comes in with you anyway?
I'm not too pleased with the 31 on that. I'm probably racing him a lot harder once we get out of pit road and get the tires up to temp here.
So those cars did put on the red wall tires. So they have correctly made the strategy work. However, curious if there is an issue with compounds or not here, because nope, However was on the blacks. Was about to say, just double checking on that sequence. So that being said here, somebody's going to have to tell Jake he's got to change the tire compound, because that Barrett Wolf, hold on, just picked up a black flag in this session. And
interested if that was maybe a speeding penalty or maybe an illegal exit possibly.
Exit.
Submerge, yeah. The left front was past the white line before he completely crossed the blue line there, Justin. And so Barrett Wolf, no choice but to take a penalty here. Matthew Monroe's probably smiling a little better. Yeah, that's a photo finish.
Yeah, it's clear cut. You see the blue line. Remember with iRacing, it's very strict. Oh, they just made contact. Monroe just rammed into the back end of Wolf and wing damage with a 44.
This just got a whole lot more interesting, because what's the penalty going to be here for Barrett Wolf here possibly? And then, because if Wolf's going to have the same, if Wolf is just a drive-through, 31 will have the advantage. Monroe is going to drive with that front wing or not, stay alive here. He's in a good spot where he could stay in a position, not maybe just lose one to Hallinar, who's in fifth, a straightaway, half a straightaway behind him possibly.
So as Wolf comes to serve the penalty, this is how the 44 says, you know that advantage, let's just destroy the wing.
Yeah, those slideways on corner entry, and Monroe just didn't expect it, so he had to check up. Meanwhile, on pit exit, Fryman, the huge winner, picked up 3.4 seconds, a 9.4 second stop to a Burton 12.9. I'm going to take a look here at the pit stops while the race is going on here to see what may have been the difference.
Yeah, curious here as you see everybody is lit up on the alts.
So I don't know if we'll be able to rewind this or not, but Burton slid the tires as he was making his stop and had no choice but to back up. So Fryman was able to gain 3 seconds. That is huge in this race now, because Fryman's got the daylight. There's the replay on it with Burton. That's huge for Fryman, because I mentioned the push to pass he had earlier on. Fryman can save that here in this final stint of the race, and then Burton's going to have no choice but to use it. So it's going to be still a little bit of a 50-50 battle, but it kind of helps out Fryman a little bit when it comes to his chances to win probability-wise.
Great chance for the 23. Burton did close up 1 second already this lap, though. As look out, one of the drivers that is still in the race we haven't touched upon much, Garrett Greathouse, having a little bit of excursion there. But Fryman has said, big advantage, For whatever reason, he is trimming off. Let's take a look at this, by the way, for the Kansas State machine. Where is he going?
He is going to the boats. Actually, no, sorry, that's the rhythm section.
Yeah, that's well in the runoff. He absolutely missed the braking zone.
Way too hot.
So, checking in, by the way, on the situation with the 95 for those keeping track at home. Still out there, still no change. Gonna keep an eye on the race control. Never mind, Cummings just wrecked the car, just about scraped the wall.
Yeah, that car was really sideways on corner exit. Just pushing for whatever it's worth. And I think I want to ride on board here with Cummings and just see if he's got a damaged hot rod. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the. I'm looking at the suspensions up front. All looks good on his end there, but I'm not too sure about everywhere else.
It's driving very weirdly. Doesn't look comfortable with the way it's driving at the corners right now with the 95. So as they go, Fryman sets a new fastest lap time. Now with him on the reds and with the shade kicking up. Burden
how about
is
this?
on the button, you're saying?
Fryman actually just hit the fastest lap of the race here too, Justin. 1:41.05. Actually, as I say that, Burton had a 1:40.76, but I think because of that, Burton may have had an off track there at once, possibly. Not too sure on that or not.
Yeah, curious. Again, we'll let you know what the situation is going to be when the line is crossed, because it's either going to go one of two ways. One, there's a visual bug with the tires on the 95, or it's scoring at least, or two, he's going to drop to the back of the field with the DQ.
Ooh, Burton.
Here's a question. Is there a rule with the compound swap, if you don't take a tire change, you still have to make the swap, don't you?
I would have to assume you would still have to make a swap no matter what, even if you make a pit stop or not.
Yeah. So that is something to maybe say, as it is confirmed fresh tires, by the way, so let's throw that theory out. So it's a weird situation, and we'll see how it fares out. But
look at this here, meanwhile, Justin. Fastest lap, Wyatt Burton, 1:40.90 in striking range. 1.3 seconds is the delta, and he's been very aggressive with that button. He's now just about 30 seconds off from matching Fryman when it comes to the push to pass here. So Burton is closing in, trying to use all the mishaps from Cummings in this race to his advantage. Can he pick up some more points is the question. Now the issue is for Burton, last lap he was really pushing it so much where he just about scraped the wall in the rhythm section before that really sharp chicane you have in that set of corners. So I don't know if Burton's going to be a little bit more patient or not, but look at this. He's cut it to 1 second exactly. 1.1.
He's flying.
Oh, I thought I saw Fryman slide there for a moment.
Burton just scraped the wall. Burton nearly cut the corner. So there goes a lot of the time the 26 just picked up. He is absolutely pushing as Fryman continues to push to defend. Coming to 9 laps to go.
Both sides are pushing here. And Fryman on the button a lot more. He doesn't realize how much Burton used in push to pass. So Burton again being a little conservative here, coming to 9 laps to go. But Burton still seems like he is the quickest car on track, no question about it.
Yeah, this is going to be a very wild finish if Burton does get up there here. Fryman on the time. 7 tenths.
Yeah, just about to say 7 tenths that last time by. Burton's just got to get back into a groove here, Justin, and just shake it off.
Yeah, right now, Fryman's got the advantage of clean air to work with. Burden, should be worth noting, is flirting with the edges of the curves for the off tracks to try and chip away in the rhythm and flow sections. Coming up towards the next hard braking zone. This run through, setting up for 11. Being 210 so far this lap, and this is Burden's bread and butter section normally. Right here on the close, takes a different line, a little more shower, and picks up in the braking zone in hour 10.
You know, with the way I've seen his car get a little bit sideways from time to time here in these corners too, I wonder if he's being a lot more aggressive with his tires compared to the first lap, to the first half of this race. I'm watching him on these corner exits here. Now that corner wasn't too bad when it comes to steering, but oh, Monroe, look out! Big crash.
Hallinar also collected the Ball State machine, going around with significant wing damage, and that is not recoverable without the front clip. Can confirm Hallinar jumped over top the Ball State machine into the wall.
See if there was contact coming out of this braking zone, going for the same piece of real estate, and yeah, just ran out of room there, and Hallinar clipping the tire. Think about what this does here too at the same time, not just for Barrett Wolf too, Justin, but also for Jake Cummings. I'm gonna double check the rule book to see what the penalty would be if he doesn't pit for, oh, now as I say that, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to DQ him, so now Cummings just realized, gonna pit here for the primaries, the black walls, so he loses the spot to Barrett Wolf, but Matthew Monroe remaining on the racetrack even with that damage. The onboard with Hallinar on the 44 still staying on track. Both of them trying to limp to a good points finish. Hallinar as well at the same time. Take a look at this right side pod. It's just dangling from that Dallara IR18. They are for that on. Go ahead.
There's no way he makes it away around the racetrack cleanly over the course of 8 laps like this, right?
I would be shocked if he made it completely through with no issues. Can confirm too, Hallinar and Monroe under investigation.
So that is the second incident that has investigation. Remember the error incident, for those wondering. Curbs Kim and Lyman, for those missed, are going to be looked at after the race in terms of 3 and the 78 after the race. But the close up, by the way, up front, it's 1.6. It's chipping away at this current rate. Not sure if it's going to be enough unless Burden really puts up 4/10 gain like that again and again. It's going to be borderline in terms of how close the 26 gets here in terms of the average close-up.
He's got to be aggressive here in the braking points at the moment without getting too aggressive where he could slide the tires on corner exit here, but also got to use a little push to pass at the same time. Both are going to be using the push to pass. Burton will be using it a lot more compared to Fryman. There you see him. Second place Burton on the button now as we speak.
Really, just a look at that close-up. There was a difference of 30-40 seconds before. It's near dead even now in the push to pass with how much Burton's utilized it on the attempt to gain from that big mistake. And now, both of them are going to have very equal situations here in terms of the defense for Fryman and the offense for Burton.
Yeah, something to mention here with push to pass here. It's worth roughly about 15 to 25 horsepower in those engines, and roughly 0.2 to 0.5 seconds a lap depending on the track layout. So it really does last in those short bursts and is really effective on those long acceleration zones.
Look at that for Fryman. Decent exit coming out to the final corners here. Works his way through 18 and 19. 6 laps to go here in CIL FC Series competition here from Miami. It's brand new layout here on the iRacing service. Keep in mind this racetrack originally was a concept as far back as 2019. The ownership of the Miami Dolphins Posed it back there to bring F1 to Miami. Originally had been declined by Miami Gardens and its commissioners before eventually in reverse by 2021. And of course, there are 4 layouts constructed a part of this racetrack, all part of the iRacing campaign in different circuits here. This is your F1 layout that we've seen. This track going to be utilized a lot over the course of the year in terms of motorsports here, Marty.
Oh, trouble, turn 1. Wolf just got turned off at Monroe. It was a 3-car race for the 4th position. Jake Cummins was also a part of it, but the 95 did not make contact at all. Here's a look at what happened. Nope, that's not it. This is something else. It was something else that happened.
Yeah, that was the last lap. Monroe got reeled in by both Wolf and Cummings in the final sequence of corners into turn 1. And it got ugly.
Right here. This is it right here.
Right here. See the send? Looks normal, right? No.
That's a completely gone front wing now for Monroe. Yep.
At this point, that's going to be something potentially to see. There is no further action for the 057 and the 44, but there is an investigation for this one.
Who would have thought Miami International Autodrome would turn into bumper cars here tonight with these fragile IR-18s?
Welcome to a brand new layout at a track that normally you wouldn't see here.
Exactly.
So this combination's been wild, but with under 5 laps to go, Wolf now kicked down to 6th. See if he's able to chip back up with the 44, who's still massively wounded with the car. Burden has not been able to close up the distance. Black flag 44 and a spin for Greathouse.
It's just getting from bad to worse.
Black flag is from the race administrators, keep in mind, so they are giving a penalty to Monroe, who is coming down anyway.
I think it's, I'm wondering here at the same time if he was coming down after the black flag came out, or nope, they just said drive-through penalty for the 44 for cause of collision. So here's the thing, I think he still owes the drive-through because he came down pit road before the black flag came out.
So that's going to be another stop coming up and probably last car running for Monroe. Just received a bulletin from race control. Remember that investigation that was originally for the end of the race? They have now looked at it between McKim and Lyman. Logan McKim, 3 strikes as a penalty, disqualification anyway. He is out of the race, DU given to the 3 car regardless here. So that stacks up for the St. Croix College machines that have had troubles to start their season. But talking about the race lead, Daniel Fryman is coming up to 3 laps to go this time. He's managing and farming this gap here, Marty. It's staying at about 1.6 to 1.9 seconds. It hasn't closed up any more than that in a critical time.
Fryman picked up 6 tenths last time by, so Fryman looking like he's in the catbird seat with no mistakes. Why he's basically forcing Burton at this point to throw the heavens here to try and steal this win from him. So I think when we look back at this race, Justin, if Fryman wins, it's all going to come down to that pit stop where Burton slid through the box and was forced to reverse the car.
So right now, Fryman trying to manage things as Monroe serves the drive-through penalty. This time through, Greathouse. Actually won't get there. It was 20 seconds originally the distance. It's going to stay about 9 to 11 seconds, it looks like, between the 44 and the 66 in terms of that battle for last car on track. There's the 3 to go mark. Another 3 tenths picked up in the final sector by Fryman. And now with the push-to-pass advantage, it's all in the hands of the All-State machine. Burden running out of time. Cummings, give him huge credit. Great recovery after a 2-stop in this race. Has a chance at the podium. Remember, Halidar has missing wing components.
Well, you know, sometimes in this race here, Justin, you'd rather be lucky than good, kind of like Casey Mears in the duel. Although Cummings hasn't really, he only had that one accident while leading where his strategy basically backfired from underneath them. But man, if Cummings could come out here with a podium, which seems likely, because look how much he closes in on Halidar there in turn 1. What a comeback this is going to be for the 95.
Yeah. Look at this as they work their way to the chopper cam. You can really see how much Halidar's struggling without that front wing. Now, no rotation right now. Especially, it seems like more so with the right-handers, it feels like. The left, he seems okay despite no left front wing. But now, Cummings ready to go and make the pass on the outside.
Both on the button here in this race for third. They'll give credit to Halidar trying to not give up and fight with that wounded ride. Ooh, Halidar's got to let Cummings in, though. Yeah, Halidar just doesn't have anything in that rhythm section with the damaged race car. Cummings back on the podium. Unbelievable comeback.
Master student able to move up to the top 3, pushes the button to get away. They're under 20 seconds to work with. Barrett Wolf already is the first driver out. Cummings just so happens to tell Halidar, hey, front wing's missing. As now they come up to the final 2 laps to go here in this one. Well, it's been a wild affair for those tuning in for today's race, the Beach Party Grand Prix. Lots of people pushing the buttons now as they burn a lot of it, trying to chug away and secure spots. Cummings should build the gap while Fryman looking to keep it. 1.5 seconds. They are reaching traffic. Greathouse is the big question mark. What's going to happen here?
This is lap traffic, a rarity here when it comes to this series on the road courses. If I'm Greyhouse, if I'm race control, I'm telling Greyhouse, you've got lap traffic, you've got the leaders behind you, let them go.
See the blue flags potentially pop up here if they do indeed get close enough here for the final lap. Shouldn't be a factor.
Burton's, though, cut it down to under a second using the draft to his advantage. He's got 5 seconds less, though, of push to pass. This is a great lap for the 26 as the doctor's jacket is in the air with 1 to go.
White flag is out. Final time around. You see that from Barney to your right. Fryman works his way through in front. Burton has been able to chip it under a second. It's the closest it's been in a while. Will the tires last? Can he get close enough? He did chip away a couple more tenths again.
Yeah, that was a big turns 1 and 2 that he had, though. Got to do the same thing here in this very tough left, right, and then this long left before the long straight. He may have cut the corner there. I don't know.
He's been flirting with that line with the very edge of the curb. That's a lot of clatter occurring now. That might cost him. He just lost another 10th. That's the worst time to lose it. He's down to 6 seconds of push to pass left. Fryman's
at 7. Both of them are going to save it here for this long straight. This is what may determine the race. Burton's got to go in really deep, but not enough. He's got to hope the 23 makes a mistake here in this rhythm section. But don't count out the draft, though, on this long straight, too.
Burton floating across the curbs, now within a car length. Nearly lost it. That loses the momentum. That might be the race there. Burton loses momentum. There's the draft, now picked off the lap car. They work their way down the final straightaway. Fryman hugs the inside. They're both out of push to pass. Can Burton lunge from deep? Can he build a miracle? He gets at least half the distance, nearly misses the corner. Fryman exits the corner himself. The Beach Party Grand Prix will go to Nathaniel Fryman. He wins in Miami. So Fryman gets the job done by about a second, while Jake Cummings does hold on for the podium. And what was a turbulent race for him, a two-stop affair, not by original design, but he's able to power his way back to at least a good points day. What a race, Bucky. What a race.
Yeah. This one, it was up and down all around. Wild race in action up near the front, action all up in the back. A lot to be talked about coming out of Miami on to next week.
Indeed, the rest of the drivers now looking to close out the laps. Hallinar gets himself a top 4. Wolf months the top 5. Only one driver who finished the race finishes a lap down, as the last of cars to finish is Matthew Monroe. We are just waiting on his car to cross, then the drivers will have things finalized. Of note, Monroe did fix the side pod with his pit stop sequence when he got the wing change, or at least ripped off the side pod. Race is concluded. Monroe has taken the finish line. So with that being said, we'll see if Fryman eventually celebrates, but as he works the cool-down lap, Marty, lots to talk about when it comes to results coming through here for today. It's Fryman over Burden, 1.053 seconds today, with coming to the top 3. Hallinar, Wolf, Monroe, Greathouse are the drivers who finish. Voigt finishes off in 8th. Bainey, McKim, the top 10 here today. Rest of the drivers today in the order. Finish at the second tab. Lyman finished off in 11th in this one. So look at the results here, Marty, as celebration time up front.
Too bad of a place to do donuts for Fryman. Here on the front straight, Hard Rock Stadium in the background. He'll be sleeping happy tonight.
So, as the celebration starts off, we wait to see the drivers as they get ready to jump into the interview sessions here and finish the rest of their cool-down laps today. An interesting one, to say the very least, for drivers, but Nathaniel Fryman is the one who gets to put together a delightful performance. Nathaniel Fryman now joins the broadcast booth with the win here today. Daniel, good points day, to say the very least. You get your first win of the season. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great, especially when I was so close last week at Auto Club. I wasn't able to get it. To be able to, get it done tonight, get the win on not the easiest of tracks, feels really good.
How was it trying to adapt to a track like this with a setup not normally made for Miami, obviously?
It was weird. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like the setup at first, but it is what it is. You just got to get used to it. You got to adapt, get ready, and I felt like I prepared pretty well, and it obviously led to a win, so I feel really good.
So with that being said, you close up some ground today, very much so needed to be able to chip away to Cummings here. How do you feel about that now with the Brickyard in sight for the next couple weeks?
Obviously really good. I know I can compete with Jake, so getting a win and breaking up his winning streak feels nice to be like, hey, I can win around here too.
Any shout you'd like to give here today?
Shout out Ball City Esports, shout out Dylan, Alif, my family, girlfriend, all my friends. They're super supportive in sim racing, and I'm glad I could get a win.
Congrats on the run here today, Nathaniel.
Thank you.
Daniel Fryman gets the job done today. He had to hold off Wyatt Burden's late race surge. He's with Marty.
Wyatt, that was a great drive tonight. Taking a good points day, taking advantage of Jake's mishap early on in the race. What more, though, did you need in that final lap for Fryman?
I think I just needed the primary tires. I needed to finish on those. We were going to try and split the strategy, me and Jake, so that way we had the two BSU guys covered. But unfortunately, Jake made a little mistake that was shades of me at Laguna Seca, so I feel his pain there. But I think if it was the other way around and I got to finish on the primes, I think it would have been much easier at least to stay with him, let alone pass him.
What led to the decision to start on to the prime tires? Did it have to do with, like early in the race and then maybe saving the alternates for last when the track had some grip, had some rubber taken in?
Yeah, I really just like finishing on the more durable tire. That way I can, if you're in a shootout at the end, you can finish with more grip at the end of a stint compared to the alternates. But I let Jake make the decision first because he was qualifying in front of me. So I led that up to him and then just did the opposite and went and see how it panned out.
I do want to ask you as well, because you were right on Fryman before pit stops and then he picked up 3 seconds on you. What happened there with your pit entry? Because we saw, it looks like you slid through the box and then you had to back up at the same time.
Yeah, pit entry was okay, but I did slide in my box. I went just a little too far, and I think that cost me probably about 3 seconds. So, yeah, I think it would have been really close between me and Fryman at the end there.
Regardless of that, though, a great drive for you tonight, Wyatt. Who do you want to give shout-outs?
Shout out to my parents, as always.
Sounds good. Wyatt, appreciate the time. All the best of luck the rest of the season and down the road. Great job tonight.
Thank you, guys.
So Wyatt Burton finishing in second and rounding out the podium. He was leading early in this one. Jake Cummings finishing third. He is with Justin.
Yes, indeed. And Jake, first things first, started off well. What happened on the spiral?
So many things. It honestly didn't even matter that I spun off that curb. My wheel just wasn't straight when I spun off of it. Kudos to Nathaniel and Wyatt for not hitting me. But it didn't even matter in the end. I got a new GT3 style wheel rim earlier than I thought. It came in a couple hours before the race, so I had just set it up in time for this. And I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but I set my tire choice to primaries while we were gridding, and then when I pit, they just never changed the tires. And I thought they put on new alternates at first, so I was like really confused when they felt like old primaries. So I was thinking, is this a graphical glitch? Am I actually on primaries? And they just, because they felt so bad. But then I got a warning from my spotter saying I needed to take care of my tires. So I was like, oh, they never even changed the tires. I don't know if it's something I did with the initial key bindings that when I changed the compound, it also unchecked the tires for some reason. I need to look into that and check my stream back, but it wouldn't have mattered in the end whether I made that mistake at first or not. But I'm glad that once I actually got new tires on, I was fast and was able to steal the fastest lap back and get back up to third. A damage limitation for sure, but yeah, it was fun at first, and then it was kind of just like, but oh well.
So just to confirm, they put you up on the jacks. You were driving the alternate tires at the start of the race, by the way, on screen. And you end up, I'm not sure how exactly they lift up the jacks and don't change the tires. That is a new one, if I'm understanding that.
I think they lifted the jacks anyways because I had a little bit of front nose damage.
Yes.
So I think they were changing the front wing while I was fueling, and I was like, wow, it's not taking any extra time. This is great. So that might have been a hint. I didn't think about how they can only do that while they're refueling, not while they're changing the tires. So that might have been a hint, but yeah, I wasn't sure. But that's what happened. I didn't even notice there was no tire animation, so just unfortunate. I'll figure it out though.
So on that note here, you lose a little bit of the points today, but still get a good points recovery here. How do you feel about your championship season so far, knowing you've had the momentum, but now look to try and get it back with the Indy GP and the Indy 500 next?
Well, I feel bad that Dylan had yet again more hardware issues. That must have been really sad for him and for anyone watching. But he had put in a lot of work for this combo. He was really looking forward to it, and I knew he was going to have the edge on pretty much everyone. So when I was lucky or or whatever to get within half a tenth of him in qualifying, and then we started on different compounds just by chance. I was like, okay, this is like my only chance. So it was fun to race him at the start, but basically my point is that there's a lot of fast people. Like you have Wyatt and Nathaniel and Dylan, who are we're all 4 by season's end, probably going to be within a shout of the title. I like Indy Road. I won my split of the Thrustmaster Indycar Pro qualifying series, I think it was called, in the Indy Next cars. So I'm looking forward to that. Indy 500 is always fun as long as you can stay out of trouble. And now that we have a prize pool and everything, I think we'll get a good number of cars there, and it'll be a lot of fun to participate in for sure. But after that, it's just taking it race by race. So there's some tracks I do like, some tracks I don't. But yeah, it was honestly, for everything that happened, it was good damage limitation. So I'm not too worried about the gap now.
Anyone who want to give a shout out to here today?
I'll shout out the guy that shipped my new rim in from Facebook Marketplace. It got here a day early. I don't know, maybe that was for the worse, but you know, everything happens for a reason. So I'll shout out him, shout out my wife, shout out you guys. I know the numbers weren't great, so hopefully y'all were able to entertain yourselves, and hopefully it'll get better as the season goes on. And of course, thanks to Converse Esports, Monster Energy, and TeamSpeak.
Congratulations on the run today, Jake.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Jake Cummings recovers to a top 3 here today. I want to thank everyone from the top 3 for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on Green Flag TV. As talked about with the drivers, the next time these competitors will hit the racetrack will be Indy Road. That'll be February the 19th. It's a 9 p.m. start time. Be sure to tune in once again for more coverage of NAPA Longland Corporation Formula One College here on Green Flag TV. But as these drivers get themselves prepared to go, I thank you once again for tuning in for today's coverage here on Green Flag TV of racing action of the CIL. For Marty Sakala, for Dustin Ellis, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We hope to see you for more broadcasts here on Green Flag TV in the coming days. And hope to see you next time out when we go racing from Indiana.